Hey, this is Ayal with Atlanta Against Cancer. We are here at Atlanta Against Cancer Week at Ponce City Market. Woo! Can I hear from the crowd? Thank you. Today we have our patients panel in Atlanta Against Cancer. We do creativity, culture, and community in the city of Atlanta with a focus on cancer. We are at the illustrious Ponce, the beautiful Ponce, and this is, of all the interviews I'm doing, this is probably the one that I was most we had no plan. You guys all sent me in different bios. Yours was the funniest because it was I don't know, okay? Do not ask me. Yeah, so basically, why don't you guys introduce yourselves, talk about your diagnosis in a sentence or so, and where you're at today, not mentally but physically, because mentally we don't have time for that. That's not this one, but yeah. So welcome to the Atlanta Against Cancer Patients Panel. And patients, we'll go over that. Who are we? But first,
can we do survivors panel?
you do survivors panel? Yeah. I mean, it's because we're not patients, right? No. Survivors panel.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Yeah. Still here.
Thrivers panel. Okay.
Hello, I'm Julianna Ferrone. I am a 2-time recurrent metastatic cervical cancer survivor. I was originally diagnosed when I was 27 years old, and I was stage 3C1. So I've done probably about almost 3 years of chemo and radiation. So today I am going for 2 years NID in August. So close.
Woo, woo.
Yes.
I can't woo.
Physically, I have some side effects from chemo I'm dealing with, like my knee braced right now and it's swelling and all that good stuff, but I'm here. I walked in here today, so I'm doing
Yes,
good.
you did.
I'm doing good.
We walked up and down the stairs.
We did
Yes,
the stairs.
and Abby made me walk down I don't know how many stairs.
Sorry.
Just kidding. Quite a lot.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
I am Abby Akins. I am a breast cancer survivor, thriver. I was diagnosed in August of 2021 with no family history, so it was quite the surprise. Fun times. I discovered it on my own, and I acted very quickly and aggressively. As soon as I found out, I immediately had a scheduled surgery. And, you had spoken about previously the scheduler of the hospital. Mine was a little bit different. I had to hunt my person down, but once I got in, that's when things took off. So then had a double mastectomy, in September of 2021, and based on the removal of the tumor, there was no lymph node involvement. So now technically I've been cancer-free since September of 2021.
Woo woo.
Yeah, went through 4 rounds of chemo and then reconstruction. Good times.
I feel like I have to have a better reaction than woo woo.
Yeah.
That's,
We're still
I
here.
swear, it's a big woo woo, So
Woo woo for all of us.
all of us.
I don't know. Like you said,
Name, social security number. Mother's maiden name.
36.
No.
You said the diagnosis part.
Name,
into a
diagnosis.
sentence.
Just
I'm
who are you? Why are you? How did I get you here?
He bribed me.
Yeah.
So my name is Andrew J. Etheridge, and I am a thyroid cancer thriver. There we go.
Thriver. We're running with it.
I got diagnosed in, I want to say May of 2019, 2 or 3 days before my college graduation, and that process of going through the diagnosis and all the scans and whatnot, that was a very long process. My first surgery, that was in August of 2019, and then we did that, going through the follow-ups, doing the checkups. December 4th of 2019, it was discovered that I still had thyroid left in my neck, so I had to do another surgery. So that was beginning of January 2020, and after 2020, we did that. The world went into pandemic mode. I had to do low iodine radiation, and for a good month and some change, and yeah. After that, we've been on the uphill ever since, and I've been good. That was 4 or 5 years now, so we're doing good. Physically, I'm good. I'm still speaking well, and have a cool like scar. Like, we got that. Yeah.
We definitely, the scars are cool. I met Andrew because I was just posted up on the Beltline selling socks, and because that's what I do is sell hospital socks on Beltline. And see me out there, one of the areas, and he walked up and told me his whole story, and then I was like, damn, he's got a scar. That scar is badass though.
And it's so funny because like I was like telling them like how we met. I was just like out of random because I had never been to the Beltline before. So I was just like walking around and I saw your table. I'm like, oh, nice. And there was also a cute girl there, but like I just ended up talking to you because like our conversation was so good and engaging. So I'm like, oh, this was like meant to happen. Like this was cosmic mathematics.
I called back. Okay.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Great to meet you. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, you know, I didn't have like a plan and with this one because I was like, I mean, that's our shtick, right? And I know you guys in 3 different ways, but also very similarly. Like, we met Instagram. We met because our first event you applied to, and then your first pottery show, and then you ended up to be friends with the person I am a waiter at the restaurant, and then meeting on the Beltline. So like, I guess the thing like to start off talking about is like maybe cancer community, you know? Like, I mean, because we can go into, it's funny, like we can talk details about all the stuff we've gone through. We can like trauma bond here, and it might not kind of like out in the world get understood, or like the seldom person that's like, But I think, you know, if we think about like the community things, like I always like Bebop as a complaint department. That was like a big thing. Like maybe we just be a complaint department, and that's how we get to know people. But like, you know, I guess a good question to start is like, what's been your experience in meeting other patients, and then also just like not just trauma bonding, but things to do, or
for sure. You know, what we were talking about earlier when we were trying to grab some lunch was it sucks being a part of this thing, but the community is it sucks that we have to be here because of that, the C word, but the community has been everything. I know when I was first diagnosed, you know, I joined every support group that I possibly could virtually, because things happened very quickly, and I thought, you know, I'd be able to handle it and sustain it. And I learned very quickly that, oh my God, this is too much. I need community. And so I had joined like a local Facebook group, and I quickly bonded with a couple, I call it like, they're like my angels, a couple women literally right around the corner from me, and said that they were like my saving grace. I mean, my family and friends, of course, but, you know, for us to truly understand exactly what we've been going through. And, you know, unfortunately, I have a couple of close girlfriends that have passed within the last couple of years from it, and they were my huge support community. But anyways, but aside from that, and then just meeting you last year, I just started pottery, and my former neighbor at the time, her young son was going through leukemia, and she was like, hey, there's this event, you should do it. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, just do it. And I'm like, okay. So I applied, and that's how, and you called me like immediately. And I was like, shit, I know, it was so cool. And I was like, man, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. So, yeah.
I want to piggyback off of you. It is like we were saying downstairs, like, I've seen this somewhere, heard this somewhere, but this is the worst club with the best people in it, because you got to have that community. I'm like you, like when I first got diagnosed, or maybe you said it, see, chemo brain, I can't remember anything. But I remember when I first got diagnosed, one of them sleepless nights, just Instagram, searching hashtags, searching cervical cancer, AYAs, because that's a big thing, adolescent and young adults, just because of when I was diagnosed. And then, you know, like how we met on Instagram, just because you had seen, I had spoke at the Georgia State Capitol, and then we realized we're both here. I think you know, this event and what you were doing is so important because as big a city as Atlanta is, there's not any like specific cancer support or, you know, what you're doing. So I think it's very important and we all need it.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Like when I met you, y'all, like on the Beltline, it was so cool that you were doing something with it, with this whole, let's say, this whole gift of cancer. Even though cancer is not a great thing, just like you took that experience and you've made it into something positive. And just to see what you have done with Bebop, and even the fact that we're here talking about this is amazing, because like for me, when you guys are talking about community, that's amazing that you guys went after it, you guys sought for that during the initial phases. For me, I did not. I like in the middle of like when I got the diagnosis, I had like a month or two earlier, I had ruptured my Achilles at work for my work injury. So like I'm going through that, and then I got my neck is feeling all crazy. I go do the testing. I'm told I have cancer. I'm in a whole loop where I'm now thinking about death. Like the thought of that is now constantly in my head, because now you have this whole idea with college where it's like, oh, this is going to be the start of your life. You're going to go into the world and actually truly live it. Here I am, 24. I'm just like, wow, am I about to die? Am I gonna die a virgin? Like, what is going on with my life?
No.
Like, so you're going, so this like just like a whole endless feedback going on. This is like, I don't know if I'm going to see the next few years of my life, and just like, and for me, and then like going into doing the surgeries, like having that, and then you go straight into a pandemic where everyone is isolated. You're stuck with whoever you're with. So for me, it was just like a whole, like you're just in a little box in your thoughts the entire time. So that just gave me a whole lot of time really didn't think about like searching for other people in terms of like going through the same situation that I've gone through. But like, I'm happy that I have family, I have friends, but even then, you don't necessarily understand what that experience is like. So it wasn't until maybe the end of 2020 where I started working at this new place where the majority of those people I met, they are like family to me. I was becoming part of community, even though they're not cancer related. They being part of a community, being part of a group of people who both enjoy your company, you enjoy their company. That's great, and that definitely helped me becoming road to recovery, to be just feeling more comfortable with the fact that this is a part of my life. Cancer is a part of my story, but it is not the defining thing about my story.
Exactly.
And again, with you, just the fact that you've built this out of your journey, and just seeing like the community itself, like just today, I'm meeting y'all, and it's like, oh, this is so cool. There's a community of people who actually understand this, and absolutely,
Right,
it's like the first time we've ever met, and just seeing that what you've created has created community. That's such an awesome thing. And I'm like, ever since I met you, I'm like, every time I'm talking about Bebop, I'm like there's this thing called Bebop Foundation. Like, dude, this Ayal, he's super cool. I will sing your praises until the end of time.
I don't get it. Okay. Like it's so funny because like it's funny because this cancer community thing, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about. And we're gonna hope is that gonna pick up in the? We'll be good. Okay.
Well,
we're doing this in a public place,
yeah.
so that's what's funniest about it. But like this cancer community, I don't want to cut you off. Where are you going?
No, you're good.
Okay.
No, finish.
Well, it's funny because like I don't relate to y'all's stories. I relate to his the most. Like through cancer, it was like I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I didn't, like, the idea of making cancer friends was like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like, all of a sudden, like, I'm going to hurt somebody, but all of a sudden I'm on JV, I'm like on the JV 8th grade softball team, like, none of us are going pro, our parents signed us up, they had things to do at 6 to 8, so they needed us to do something, but it's weird, I think it's because what is the community is the issue, like not the people like that, they're not, no, but the the community itself was the issue that I felt like there was. And I didn't make Bebop out of some like need for community and friends, maybe internally and subconsciously as I'm saying this, that it's a deeper conversation, I guess, but more personal one. But
Let's
this,
go there.
This reality that like, it's to hear you guys say that, because it doesn't really have much to do with me. I have just sort of put the idea out there, and then I've reached out to people, and it's then you kind of find out like in each of our own ways, it's a need.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
To speak to that, or to speak to like the period of isolation or whatever, I mean, yeah, man, because it can cripple you completely.
Raise the mic up just a little bit. Yeah.
Hello. And, you know, I experienced that. Like in the beginning, I was like, all right, like I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to be public about my story. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to be inspiring. I'm going to do all the things. Because we also have a young daughter. And so I was like, I want her to see this as like a learning opportunity, right? And, you know, sadly, I very quickly realized after all of the surgeries and chemo and trauma and losing the hair and everything, it was just my world came crumbling down. And then I went into isolation and I like real bad. And so, you know, but then, you know, it's just moments like this, you know, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, and that you have created a space and you are holding space for people to come and talk and, you know, bond. And even, I mean, because let's face it, every single one of us has been affected by cancer. I hate that, but I think that's the reality. And you've made it into what the slogan is, culture.
The one we have today, creativity, culture, community.
Yes.
Atlanta against
I thought that was
creativity, culture, community.
That's
Atlanta
right.
against
That's-
cancer.
yeah.
That's what this is. Creativity, culture, community.
Yes,
Atlanta
yes,
against
with
cancer.
cancer.
To everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we need like a rear view
Yeah.
mirror to show like yeah.
I'm
like,
sorry, I thought that was your mission statement.
yeah. No. Well, and that's like, you know, it's funny because I'm very comfortable with you guys. You know, we have other speakers here, and I'm definitely comfortable with them too, but some of them I don't know in the way of like saying little comments and, you know, like, I mean, laughing.
Like cancer?
Yeah, like, and that's the thing is like laughing about cancer, like it's in front of a room full of people who might not understand. You're sort of like, are we, I don't know, not to go down this tangent, but like, are we performance art or something? When you do this, you know, when you, that's the thing is like I didn't like totally think this through, but when I got cancer and everything, like it popped in my head like to start content creation for cancer and stuff like that, and because you see it,
Yeah.
and it's a big thing, and you know, and for some people it's like, but it's part of I don't know, it's like I don't know that I consider us to be the faces of the punk movement, but like being part of this idea that you have, we each have a story, you know, Atlanta Against Cancer and like the Bebop Cancer Foundation, they can't run on IAL's story. IAL's story is not the story that it will survive on or thrive on, right? But because my story, like, it's not that not that it's not that interesting. It's like I always say, like, you don't want to be unique in a hospital, you know, like, but we just like, my story isn't the one that matters. It's so cliche, but our stories matter.
Do you follow the cancer patient on Instagram?
Sure, and shout out the cancer patient for
Shout out to
being
cancer
there.
patient.
You know, like I don't know them. I don't know if you guys.
I don't either, but
Do
I
you know the
feel like I
account
do.
though? Yeah. Like, do you know the account? The
I do not. I
you
don't
You don't.
know.
Oh, you don't cancer meme?
No, I'm
don't-
sad.
you don't-
Sorry,
you
I
don't
don't.
cancer
Sad,
meme?
I don't participate in Instagram anymore like that.
Really?
I need time off a phone.
What are you like? Too good for us into these?
No, I like people.
I
in
get
person.
it. Yeah, I get.
Don't worry,
But
I'm gonna
no.
send you some memes
yeah,
later.
Thank you.
there we go.
Please do.
There we go.
But like, I think on top of like, kind of speaking on what you've been talking about, like Bebop, like you creating Bebop Foundation, that wasn't the intention. But the fact that, first off, the fact that you didn't name it IAL Foundation, you named it Bebop Foundation, it does give space and gives people the opportunity to tell their stories through Bebop Foundation, because it's not just a one face
Right,
foundation.
right.
It's a multitude of stories and experiences. That's what makes Bebop Foundation interesting and special and unique. And also on the fact that even though it wasn't your intention for Bebop to be like to create this community, that is a byproduct. Like no one,
Right.
like when we're all diagnosed with cancer, like no one said, oh yeah, I'm gonna go through cancer and I'm gonna start doing X, Y, Z. Like no, I'm like I'm not sure if this was your experience, but like with pottery, like that wasn't the oh yeah, I'm like I have cancer now, I'm gonna start with pottery now. I don't think that was
The classic. Are you talking about the?
I don't think that was the intention, but like
Wait
that
a
was like a
minute.
byproduct of the fact that you've gone through the experiences. Like, let me do something with this. Let me transform whatever these thoughts and feelings I have and do it something constructively. I never thought I was gonna make whatever the films I've made since being diagnosed with cancer. I'm like, well, if I'm gonna die, let me make this film because I'm like, I hate my film I made for college. So let me make something like if I do not make something, I don't want to live with the fact that I didn't make something that I'm at least happy with. I'm proud of. And when people go through my stuff and they see what the stuff I made, they see that and like, that's Andrew. That was him.
Yeah.
That wasn't like when you go through cancer, at least from my experience. My own experience, let's say that you're not thinking of the future of what you're going to do with it. You're still in the present, and you're thinking of the multiple things that could be happening or could happen. So again, the fact that when you create Bebop, it wasn't the intention, but it's the byproduct, and that's all we have to work with. We have the byproduct to work with. Hope that made sense.
So I kind of did the complete opposite of you. So when I first started treatment, when I first got diagnosed, I got really pissed off for obvious reasons. But beyond that, 15 years prior to my diagnosis, my mother got diagnosed with cervical cancer. So then the fact that it happened to me, I was like, no, this is not okay. I need to get loud about this. We need to start talking about this. So a couple of treatments then, I had signed up with the American Cancer Society to be a legislative ambassador because I got mad. And I knew I had your like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to knock this head on. But then also I was like, no, we got to do something else. So
There's a storm
it was
coming.
so powerful. That was so powerful. I brought the rain.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, hey, we're just gonna like.
I swear there needs to be another camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, to that point of like, it is one of the big things we've talked about in Bebop has always been like the cancer experience doesn't negate the human experience. And what is the human experience? Well, it's anything. And then that's why I've like, when I meet people and I'm like, oh, you do pottery? Let's figure that one out. Oh, you make movies? Let's figure that one out.
Yeah.
When I met her because I saw a post of her in a government building
Dude.
and I was like,
So awesome.
we can be in government building, like, and it's like, I know it, but it just didn't something, I didn't know you could,
Yeah.
It's done, but you didn't know,
Yeah.
you don't know you can do it,
Gosh.
Like the whole
Yeah.
thing is believing thing.
Oh, for sure. Well, and I think, I'd like to talk to you after. Well, I'd like to talk to all of y'all after. But in getting more involved on that level, because yes, it does start there with a lot of insurance and the research and all of that, right? And it's like we oftentimes look to nonprofits to sustain the research and the influence in the community and all that. So that is really incredible and very admirable. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. It really does, truly, to get up in front of people who don't think like you or who haven't been through your experience and to truly try to make a change on that level.
I have another thing to say. So when I was first diagnosed, I lived in Alabama, and the county I lived in has the highest cervical cancer rates in the entire state.
Wow.
And so there was a lot of factors that just made me so mad that I knew I had to make a change because we don't talk about GYN health. We don't talk about HPV and the fact that it does cause cancers. And my recurring theme is the louder I get about it, the more people are going to notice and the more we can make change. So
What, the squeaky wheel gets the attention?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think a big thing, and now that it's like a full-on storm outside. So, we have adapted. We almost had a moment with the fan there. Could have been a moment, but we all saw. Yeah. I'm loving the way that this one's coming out. This is perfect. This is right on par with what I was hoping for. So, wow, yeah, it's.
Well, I'm just glad that we're covered.
The thing is, we're getting misty and like we.
With these hot flashes, perfect,
like,
right on time.
There's also Atlanta against programming now, but Atlanta against cancer programming outdoors today, and I did not plan this, and I wonder how that one's going. Point being, we're still in a podcast. I think that's what we were talking about is sort of one of the most interesting things is that, like, I feel like that you take the Taken movie where he's like, I have a specific set of skills. Like, had I not worked in digital marketing before and knew how to, like, barely make a bad website, then I wouldn't have been able to, make a bad website first. And like our logo is a popsicle.
Yeah.
People have asked me like, why? I worked at a popsicle place and I was drawing popsicles all the time, and then it made people happy. And I think that's the big thing is like with cancer, oh my God, we look at, and this isn't about other charities or what they're doing, but our experience as patients, because again, like I can't be, I All Story is in Bebop's story. I All Story is part of Bebop's story, as is yours, as is y'all's. And like, but sometimes it feels so stuffy. And so it's like, either it's F cancer, we can't say it, we'll have to bleep it later, but either it's
Sorry,
F cancer or it's like the medical symbol. Like there was no middle ground. And some days I'm like, fuck cancer.
Yeah.
Other days I'm like, I did ADBVD or whatever the thing is, and technically speaking, I'm a, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and, it's like, or Hodgkin's lymphoma, sometimes I forget. But like
you're making it much more relatable and much more casual and speaking to the emotion.
But why would you, and that's where, like, shouting out the cancer patient, like, it doesn't hurt Bebop's charity because they clearly get it.
Yeah.
They understand that there is sarcasm and there's sadness and there's, tough shit and fun and
a little bit of morbidity.
Yeah, and
right.
A little.
Yeah.
It's tough with the storm. Like I feel like
This is perfect.
it's like beautiful,
It's
but
really nice.
yeah.
This
So
is the journey of cancer. It's first it's sunny.
yeah, it's first it's sunny, then it's sunny. So and as we have maybe just a few more minutes, and I think maybe we can talk about not just the community experience, but where you think I would say maybe each one of you could say like a thing that bothered you that could be better, something that was wrong that could be different, and maybe you haven't thought about it, or maybe you've thought a lot about it, and instead of saying what you think could be different, you want to just list out the things that are wrong. This is your time.
How long do we have for that?
Yeah, no,
I can go for hours.
Okay.
But you have to be specific.
Specific. So let's
like
say
hospitals or
what's really interesting is,
What?
and since I know you guys the way I do, and you know me, like we know these, like it's so tough. I will say just as a quick thing, like I have learned that it is cervical cancer, breast cancer, thyroid cancer, like Hodgkin's, where my the biggest tumor that I had, the one they biopsied, was right there. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, it's so, when we talk about prostates and cervixes, and, it makes people so uncomfortable. So I think, like, there's this taboo that's definitely the worst, like, part of the worst part. But one of the things that I'm actually struggling with at Bebop now is, because we're becoming a company, oddly enough, now. This is cool. But it's this term of, like, the cancer experience. Because at Bebop, what we've said is creative solutions for the cancer experience. What is the... Yeah, because it could be from the clothes we wear in the hospital to the mural on the wall to the way that one nurse treated me, which I didn't like, to the way that one nurse treated me, who I really liked. That's a different day for a cancer patient.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, first I'm gonna start with clothing because you said that. So I've been struggling with lymphedema, and my legs have been so swollen, and I'm having trouble walking it some days. And I made the comment to IL one time. I'm like, why are there no hot girl canes? Like, I don't
I
want.
just want to clear that up. She said hot girl canes.
I did. I sure did.
Hot girl canes.
I did. People know what I'm talking about.
Get it. I think we all, yeah, that one.
Because I have been using my grandfather's wooden canes from the early 90s. Like, they work, but we need better adaptive clothing and better clothing for adolescents and young adults because we still need it. You know, we do have disabilities from treatment. We do still need these adaptive accessories, not to mention, you know, certain clothes for accessing ports or mastectomy recovery, that kind of thing. So that's my biggest gripe is it's not, you have those out there, but they're not for young people. Like we don't get sick or something. So.
Yeah, right on. Double mastectomy, heck yeah. For me, the system as a whole. It makes me really angry that we are in the wealthiest country in the world and we can't provide or accommodate the utmost stellar gold standard type of care, or we have to pay for it. You know, I know when I was diagnosed, I had just launched my paralegal business and became self-employed, and I was about 4 months in, and then I was diagnosed. And what did I have to do? Set up a GoFundMe. And so, you know, just to be able to sustain, because I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know if I was going to survive. I didn't know, you know, what was going to happen with our daughter, with my husband, with, you know, all the things. So, you know, I could go on for days about all the things. But yeah, the system as a whole. And I truly, again, would love to speak to you guys more about how to get more involved with that. Yeah.
Cool. Woo woo.
kind of piggybacking on you on the system. I think for me, what would definitely having gone through my experience, just the whole process of having to do all these steps just to go into you and you'd be like, okay, we gotta do this. That the process, you gotta do 18,000 scans, you have to do 18,000 blood works and all
the logistics.
God, torture chamber. Just the process of all these steps necessary just to go in to cut your neck open, get whatever they gotta do. It's like, oh, you should be good now. We gotta do more follow-ups now. We gotta do more testing. We got just all these steps. Even though I understand, like, yeah, it's necessary, but at the same time, like the fact that you have to go through all these steps, you have to go through all this money just for someone to take your blood, just for someone to put you in a little box to scan you for almost I don't even know how long that was. Just going through all these processes and the whole issue with insurance, like if you need insurance for a doctor to see you, you need insurance to do X, Y, and Z, but you can't do X, Y, and Z because you have this plan, but you gotta go through this premium.
You need insurance A to do thing B.
But in network, out of pocket, in the deductibles.
I've met my deductible, and then the turn of the year thing. That one to me is that's got to be the.
That like then you have to like look for
Turn of the
employment
year.
that way. Okay, do you guys offer health insurance? Because that's something I have to think about now. Like, oh wait, no, you guys don't do that. Okay, you guys offer this, but I can't qualify for this because the health insurance process for this company doesn't qualify for me to do all these headaches that you have to go through just to take care of yourselves, so you can have a sense of security where you're going to go to the doctor and you're going to get well, even though that's not even a guarantee. And something that I remember my mom saying, it's just like, when we did like the first surgery, I remember saying this saying she had was like, how much is your life? And it's like, wow, like, just like to really think about that, it's like going through this process, like, how much are you willing to pay for your life? And just like, yeah, that's heavy.
Well, yeah.
I hate to be texting. It is storming out, and we are like program that's outside as well. I'm just letting them know like you can come inside and set up. There's space inside, so
for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad it's happening during this podcast, and not So this is perfect. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I got things to do. Okay, but so yeah, I mean, I think that that it's funny, logistics suck, and for anything. And it's funny because it feels like as a cancer patient, you're still printing out your MapQuest, you know, like, and the roads have been updated. By the time I print out my directions, they've changed the roads, or there's a quicker way to do it, or whatever it is. And I mean, I think that's the function, though, of like, it's like the function of my favorite part of community is complaining. I think complaining is the international language. You know, ugh means the same thing in every language. So, you know, when we look at what makes us a community, and then what keeps us together is both like, I know it's so cliche sometimes, but like cheering on each other when good things have happened is equally as important as being there to either just lend an ear, just to be there, just to, like, people don't know that, like, it's a weird thing to say this, but it's kind of easy to get like 100+ likes on something if I post with no hair and no, you know, in the hospital. Don't worry, I'm cool. You know, I'm good. Don't ask, or whatever it is. But like, it's the tougher times when you're like starting your pottery business, or I'm working on a legislative thing, or I'm working on a film. Like, all of a sudden, that cancer part that's so huge to you, you know, which does play a huge part in the fact that I'm doing pottery now, or whatever it is. Like, they don't see that. So that cancer community, though, sees that. You know?
That is a really great point, because I feel like, you know, yes, I'm like, my hair has grown back, you know, my scars are kind of going, or they're just a little bit more subdued. Yes, I think people kind of forget your story, and it's just like, dude, you have no idea how much I struggle daily just to get out of bed sometimes, and just to like put on clothes that like I feel comfortable in, or just to go do the work, and even like listen, you know, or just be there for people. So yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, how we got here.
Anybody want to throw anything last into the mix? Totally, this is your chance.
It's so interesting hearing, like, listening to you guys, like, just hearing gay, because were you guys like posting your stories like when you were going through the process and everything, and just interesting.
But then I crashed real hard.
That is interesting. I did the complete opposite. I have not. I think it was my second surgery, because I think because I was so high on drugs, I took a selfie in the bed, like, after
Doctor drugs.
after the surgery. I'm like, because I feel like I had not talked about it, like publicly talked about it at all. It was like, I'm like, I feel good. I'm high on drugs. Click. And I just like I shared like I was going through the experience of like going through cancer and everything, and then just the complete support that people were like giving me, and like I'm like, oh, this is cool. I didn't think about it, because like for me, like, I'm such a private person, like I don't want people knowing about we can cuss on this thing, right? Sort of. We're gonna get bleeped, right? I don't want people knowing shit about what's going on in my life like that, other than the fact that I'm like, no. I'm like, because like I'm again like this is my journey. Like, people who I want part of it, I want them to know. It took me forever to just tell my best friend that I had it, and just like we had gone through this whole like, I love my man, like, David, man, I love you. Like, we had like a whole bonding experience. Like, man, me and him were like hugging, we're crying, it's all about this. Just letting people in. I didn't realize the power of that. Just like to let people in. Sure. Absolutely. And just hearing you guys talk about being so public about it, it's like, wow. Makes me think about a little bit. But I think for me, especially after like meeting y'all, I've been like, it's because it's been almost like 4 or 5 years since I've gone through this experience. It's like I've just now gotten to the point where I can think, oh, I think I'm a little okay to be comfortable talking about this, and not be like, it's not gonna, like, cancer's not gonna creep up on me, like, if I start being positive about this now, like,
I know, right?
That, like,
God,
that, and so like you're like that thought is like always in like the back of my head, but it's not as loud. It's like now I can be like more positive, and just the fact that I'm like, ever since meeting you, I'm like, I want to scream to the world about this, and just like I was like very happy that you invited me to this, just to be talking about it, and it's like, yo, this is the first step of me like talking about my story about this.
Look at you.
Amazing.
We're proud. I'm proud of you. We do seem to be total opposites though, Andrew. Because I started posting after I told everybody, made 1 million+ phone calls, you know, and then I don't know, my friends kind of took over. and made me this private Facebook page and added everybody in the world to it. That at one point I'm like, I don't know these people. Please stop talking about my cervix with these people. But
That's funny. That's actually really funny. That's good. That's good material. That one works well.
it is the truth.
That's funny.
So anyways, I took it in my own hands, and then I started posting it on my personal Instagram page. Like, it was almost to the point of like every week, okay, I'm going into treatment today, send me good vibes, I need some prayers, whatever. And that was great, my first time around. But then when I had my recurrence, that support was like gone.
We don't say like bless you twice when someone sneezes or whatever it is.
Nah.
You know, like only 2 sneezes. Right.
Right, exactly. And see, okay, so I had my recurrence 364 days after I had finished treatment the first time. And so, yeah, so it was just like, even though I had found that online community and I had my family members and I had friends and stuff, it was kind of like, again, you got to do this again. It was like, you know, when you had that freezer full of food a year ago, and now I'm like, I really need it. And then you don't have anything, that sucks. So I don't know where I was going with that.
No, you're good. I mean, and I think like because we have to wrap, but the reality is that it's like what we've said the whole time. Like we started this conversation with me saying, you know, like I just thought it'd be cool to get the 3 of you guys up here together. You know, it made sense. We went from literally talking like, are we patients, survivors, thrivers? You know, like we've like shout out meme. You know, it's like all the intricacies of we didn't have a plan of where we started with, but naturally we got to the community. Naturally we got here. And so, you know, I think like what's cool for me, and you guys have like said some really nice things that I have to internalize and hold on to. And like there'll be things I'll tell myself later when I say negative things. And but the fact that we're here now is its own blessing, and everyone tells it. But the fact that
But are we in assimilation? Of
no,
some kind?
we're not doing that today. But the fact that like the way we talk about it, the way that Atlanta Against Cancer has bloomed in itself, you know, through so many people, through meeting the 3 of you and some others in the crowd, and like to like how it's just gone from like, well, what about this, to we're doing it, to we've done it. Now we have to look at it like, oh, we can't do that again. We got to do bigger and better. We got to keep going. There's a future. Yeah. So much of, and what you were saying earlier, Andrew, is like, and with the second diagnosis and the people start to fall off, you know, you think your followers, quote unquote followers, are just the friends and all these people, like, you don't know what's going to be there in the future. But then doing something like this, like I can say for me, it's given this life, and it shows so much of a future for so many things. And that cancer being something that'll touch anybody's lives means that anything we do in our lives can be a part of it. And at this point, like, this is like, a kid walk by, but this is the fucked part, is that now we're not saying like we're okay. I mean, we all got shit, but like we like now we know each other. Yeah. And the only problem is that if we keep doing this, we're going to meet more people. Yes. We're going to have more people on this patients, survivors, thrivers panel, and we're going to need more seats. We're going to need a bigger say. And it's not even because like, it's not necessarily that we'll make that much more money or any of those things. It's because there are more people like us out there who are in somewhere in their never-ending story of cancer. Yeah. And
it's just a foundation and basis of inspiration and motivation and strength, and to keep going. Mm-hmm. I mean, because we've all been there where it's just like.
So I want to thank you guys, not just for like being on the podcast and like picking up my calls when I call, but the way that you have all approached Bebop and Atlanta Against Cancer and showed up today, and that, you know, it'll echo and just. So I just want to thank you guys again, Julianna, Abby, Andrew, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we get a woot woot from the crowd? Woot woot.